Hello everyone, this is Shannon Flummerfelt from Flips. Hello everyone, this is Shannon Flummerfelt from Flip Schools. This is your Understanding Improvement series. This video is designed for central office administrators. And today we're going to be taking a look at how you can examine processes and use process-based thinking to improve your schools and school districts. So let's begin. First of all, what are processes? Well, they're defined as a sequence or a series of related procedures or steps or activities which use up precious resources in your district in order to convert a certain form of input to a certain form of output. And as these resources are used, what you'll take a look at is deciding whether or not the resources have been used well and have helped you to obtain the goals that you're looking for. So a process is graphically described as an input, the process itself, and then outputs. And these occur over a series of time, or they can be measured against certain valued metrics that you might have in your district. In any case, what you're trying to figure out is whether or not the way that you're using resources, both human and financial resources in your district, if they're being used in the best way possible. And if they're not, then that is certainly a chance for you to examine that process and try to ascertain or figure out where you might drive a point of improvement. In the case of Flip Schools, the culture of Flip Schools tends to be rife with change opportunities, and not only opportunities for change, but opportunities for improvement. So the idea here is to give you a very basic tool that can be used to help you to instigate process-based approaches as you are trying to manage and lead and navigate your school district through instructional improvement, which certainly is instigated by the flipped technologies. So what we're going to look at is something related to instruction and something that you might be thinking about as a district administrator, and that is, how do I engage my faculty and staff in professional development to get the best possible results? Certainly when you move into Flip Schools, there are lots and lots of professional development needs that your building has. And so you want to begin, not only the buildings, but your district has. So you want to begin to take a look at those professional development processes. I'm going to share with you two very basic examples of a very basic level of process-based approaches, and contrast and compare for you the differences between centralized and site-based professional development. So again, this isn't as theoretical approach as you might be used to, but this is rather a more tactical and pragmatic approach which helps you to visually see what you're actually dealing with. So what we do is we can create, for example, a very, very basic process map, such as the one you see here, where you're going to set out your inputs in the green box, explain the actual process in the blue box, and then examine what the outputs are in the rose-colored box. Again, that happens over a school year. You can also lay out processes against metrics that might matter to your school district and see how those are impacted. In any case, we're going to keep this very simple for the purposes of this video today. And your first example is we're going to take a look at centralized professional development using a process-based approach. So what we do is we'll take a look at what would typically happen in a district if you were engaging in input activity. What would the inputs be to a centralized professional development process? Well, it might be something like from central office somewhere, there would be a request to survey the faculty in the buildings and to find out what their professional development needs are. And all of that information in terms of faculty PD needs would come back to a central office location. And then perhaps central office as another form of input might take a look at what is our vision and what are we trying to get to between now and the future, and what are our professional development needs now in order to get us there. So you might, for instance, take a look at vision or maybe strategic plan or even mission in some cases. And so those would be examples of how you begin to create input for your centralized professional development process. The actual process is that district faculty would either select or they might be required to attend a professional development seminar or a series of workshops, for instance. And then typically there would be some kind of faculty feedback provided. Even if there's not a formal mechanism, for sure there will be an informal mechanism for faculty feedback on professional development. Certainly if it's not worthwhile, or if it is, you will probably hear about it in central office. And then we take a look at, well, what is the output of this process? And typically what you would find from a centralized professional development approach is that faculty begins to gain a more standardized professional development experience. And so this is helpful, for instance, if you're trying to promote a shared mission or vision for the district, and you want to be absolutely sure that everyone understands it using common syntax and common paradigms, for instance. Now, in contrast, another way to handle professional development is using site-based professional development. So again, we're going to use a process-based approach to try to examine what this looks like as an input, a process, and an output. And then very simply and very graphically, it's fairly easy for you to contextualize these two examples, for instance, for your own district, and you can see what the differences are. So let's look at site-based professional development. The inputs are a little bit different because the surveying for faculty needs is simply exclusive to the site. It just stays within the site. It isn't shared within the district. And for instance, you also might find within site-based professional development that a building principal or a school improvement team might actually figure out who are our faculty experts here in our building who have demonstrated some mastery of teaching practice or student assessment or classroom management or technology. So you might have faculty experts that are fairly easy to use in a site-based professional development approach as an input. And then, of course, you would hope that the site would certainly align any professional development with the school improvement plan, the professional learning community objectives, any kind of instructional needs that have been identified in the district or in that building. And so then the actual process then takes place of site-based professional development. Typically what would happen is that a school team, a school improvement team, in some cases an administrative team, would create some professional development programming for the building. And then faculty would attend that. And also there's probably some feedback here in the process. Then the output is a little bit different because what you would look at with site-based professional development is that faculty at the site then would begin to apply the professional development, hopefully, to whatever the school goals might be. There might be departmental goals and so on. So you can see here by just examining these very quickly and on a very, very basic level, using process-based approaches, it's pretty easy to see the differences in these two different professional development ideas. And certainly any kind of instructional process can be laid out in a similar way. when you're taking a look at differences between student assessment, teacher evaluation, any kind of curriculum goals or curriculum approaches, technology, and so on. These can all be laid out, and it does make it pretty easy to go ahead then and create some clarity around some of these issues that can sometimes become very confusing as so many stakeholders weigh in on a district level. Well, I hope that this video has been helpful to you, and that as you begin to examine what it means to flip a school or flip a district, that you might even find some more help on the Flip Institute website. You can go to http://theflipinstitute.com/about/. So I hope that helps you and hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for listening.